Oh, good morning, trekkers. Last blast of winter, I hope, here up just a little bit east of Park Falls, Wisconsin. Newman Springs parking lot. This time of year, it is a snowmobile parking lot. People do come out here to do some skiing and snowshoeing as well. But the object today is to see if I can do any snowshoeing. The snow is deep, but it's very icy. So I don't know how well this is going to go. It's also -8 Fahrenheit. It is very chilly just standing here. Also means I don't know how long the GoPro battery is going to last. I'm already starting to get where I can't even talk, and all I did was put my snowshoes on. Whew! But it should be fun. It's a beautiful morning, and if we do the route that I'm hoping to take, if it does pan out, be around 2.5 miles, and should be kind of fun just wandering through the woods. So hopefully I'm able to take you along for the journey. All right, here we go. You can see I ditched the snowshoes. They were really kind of a pain on this track. Now, spikes would have been nice, but moving along pretty good. There's another set of footprints. Somebody was out here a day or two ago. Hopefully I don't regret ditching those snowshoes, but we'll make of it what we will. The woods today are absolutely beautiful. It is extremely cold, -7, -8 Fahrenheit, and there's a little bit of a breeze coming through as well. It's even getting me here in the trees, but as long as I keep moving, I'll do well. Wow. Yeah, this is why we come out here. Wow. Well, and here we are at the turnaround point. Actually, just down that way a little bit is supposed to be another one of these side tracks. Looking at a few maps, it was not entirely clear what this track was going to be like. It shows it in the motor vehicle use map as a motorcycle trail, and I thought, well, then it may not be used, and that's why I brought the snowshoes. As it turns out, it is a motorcycle trail, but it is a snowmobile trail in the winter, which makes some sense. And because of that, snowshoes are just bah, especially in these conditions where everything is just packed and icy. You get off into the snow here, however. Watch this. This will be fun. Yeah, so it's crunchy on top and it is not on the bottom. But that's why I ditched the snowshoes, because it seems like it's going to be this way the whole way. And if I do want to veer off trail, it won't be for very far. Cold day. I'm starting to warm up. It's been 1.8 miles and I'm finally starting to warm up. All right, so at this spot, and I brought out a GPS to confirm, that is supposed to be a trail that connects over to the other side of the loop of this thing right here. I don't know. I think those are people footprints and not deer. And I might just give it a go, just to see what I can see. For those of you that don't know the term, this is called post-holing. And it should be avoided if you can. We'll go just a little bit more here. There might be something up here. These are definitely deer tracks though. Well, all right, that was energy spent. Wow, went in maybe 100 yards post-holing the whole way, and there's nothing there. If this was ever a track, don't know, but the maps are wrong. I could even see it, not this track, but I could see the other trail on Google Earth preparing for this trip, but there's just nothing there. This would be a good place to come back to in, say, November, late October, early November, mid-November even, before the snow falls, because if there was ever a track that was in here, if it's less than 10 years old, you might be able to see it, probably be able to see it. But I don't think so. I just think the maps were very old, like 1970s old. But hey, that's why we come out here. We do a little bit of prep, we do a little bit of looking, and then we see what we can see and do what we can do. Things change every year. And speaking of things changing, here's a little historical note for you. This very area right here, this piece of land, this chunk of land that we are on right now in the late 1800s was owned by none other than the Pabst Brewing Company. How's that for a little piece of history? And now that I have the GPS out and using that, this right here is actually the upper trail, so to speak, the way back trail. But as soon as you cross that corner, it's the way in trail. This would be the continuation of the way back trail. Yeah, look at the age of those trees. And I've run up and down here about 30 feet either way. And now there's really nothing. I think what it is they are on modern maps. In fact, they're even on the GPS map that I'm using. But my guess is they were hunter walking trails back in the 1970s. And they grew into disuse, and here you are. And now this becomes a motorcycle and snowmobile trail and a hiking trail. So there is just the one trail, and it's a darn shame, because if you were to follow that, it goes down to the side of a lake where there's actually a spring that you probably could have accessed just off the trail a little bit. It certainly is going to happen now, but it won't happen in the spring or summer when this overgrowth is in here either. But November is always a good time to go bushwhacking. And this spot here, now that I'm back to Forest Road, is where the GPS shows that that trail would have come out. And I can believe it that 25, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, there would have been a path there. You can see we have a wetland depression there. On the other side, another depression, and this is kind of a series of humps that make a ridge, and it certainly looks like it well could have been. During summer months, there is no chance that you would have any luck going along that path. It would be so overgrown, in places so swampy. But with this snowmobile path here, you could walk it. Now, the trick is being really cognizant and having done your research as to what is national forest, what is county land, and what is private land, because this may actually go through past private land. If I look over here, you can see it still follows the line, but there's a house right there. Is that his private property? I don't know. It's interesting though, and it is something you can research. There's actually apps that you can buy that will give you that kind of information. I actually use one of them called Onyx. It is not a commercial endorsement, but I wander around a lot up here, and maps that you can get, topographic maps, as we saw today, are highly inaccurate. And Onyx really helps me when I want to find out where to wander and where not to. I really don't care for traipsing through people's private property, especially in this day and age. That's just one thing to be aware of when you're out here wandering around. Do your research. But how cool. Just how cool. Well, all at 4.3 miles there of crunchy stuff brings us back to the Jeep. And what a gorgeous morning. It's probably warmed up into the upper single digits here. It's supposed to get up to around 15 or 16 today. And they're not get a whole lot colder than that. Tomorrow's supposed to be almost 40. But the day is not over yet. Geez, it's only about 9:30, so I think it's time for a second breakfast. And rest my knee, which is bugging me, rest my back, which is bugging me. Don't have to worry about getting warmed up. I'm feeling pretty good. But I'm hungry and I hurt a little bit. So rest that up and figure out which of the other 3 options I want to try to explore here. Yep, we're not done yet. Yeah, on the west side of Wilson Flowage, followed a snowmobile trail in, and it takes a right turn here at what's a primitive boat launch and heads across the flowage. I'm going to continue on that way into that Hunter walking trail, and it's supposed to go for a little bit yet, but boy, yeah, we're gonna go find out. Should be interesting. Well, that was fun and pointless. Got in about 200 yards and realized, no, it's not even going the right direction. It's going to end up back on top of the flowage. And yeah, I brought out the old GPS app, and sure enough, this is the trail. You have to get well before you get to the boat launch. Well, I had that part right. Well, this should be fun too. Completely untrodden. Well, that's pretty much it. It actually kind of dies off in the middle of the scrub here, about 50 yards back. I took a different route, and maybe I shouldn't have, because boy, that was tough. There is a creek right down there, and this ends right at the top of this ridge before you start dropping down into the creek, and apparently this is it. And that's okay with me. That was a lot of work. I'm beat, and going back will be a lot easier. I've already made some tracks, already punched through, and I just have to make it over to that tree line over there where the snowmobile trail goes through. So off we go. Kind of interesting. You can see take 3-4 steps, don't punch in, couple steps, punch in, punch, 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 couple steps, punch in. Lots of steps, no punching, punch in. Oh, makes it interesting. And that right there, which is very close to where I went in, looks like another unmarked spot that goes in. Probably a logging route. But hey, not today though. Another day. Snowshoes are off. Time to head back to the car and hopefully not slide off into a snowbank in the middle of the Chequamegon. The forest roads out here are extremely icy and very narrow. Kids today call it sketchy, which for all you old timers means, yeah, that there, it got a chance to kill you. Well, hello trekkers. Good late afternoon. So after I left you guys slipping and sliding away in the Jeep, I went back to camp, laid down for a couple hours, got warm, almost actually fell asleep. I've got some food in a reheater that in a couple hours should be ready to go. And right now just kind of out stretching my legs at the actual Newman Springs trailhead. Not what I said I was at this morning, where I was about 2.5 miles west of the actual Newman Springs. But I did know where I was, and I did have the right trails. So, yeah, kind of the way it is. But just out here to stretch my legs and keep my knees from getting too stiff. And we'll close out the day. Doesn't look like I'm going to get much of a sunset. The clouds kind of come in over the horizon there, which is a shame. But it's still a beautiful day. The -8 and -5 of this morning. Well, now it's about 14. And there's still kind of a chill wind when you're not in the trees like I am now. And tomorrow, not sure what it holds. Gonna sleep until I'm ready to get up. Try to have a hot breakfast if it works out. And probably push on home and maybe find a place to hike past the snow line where it's not so icy. This is very treacherous walking right now. This groomed ski trail, but there's no way you could ski on this. It's just all beat up. People and deer have been walking on it, and yeah, and it's just ice, nothing but ice. There's a fine layer of snow from yesterday on it that's keeping me from falling flat on my butt. But, well, I guess, guys, I'm going to continue on here, probably another half an hour or so of walking, but we'll call this a wrap. So, from the north woods of Wisconsin, the Chequamegon National Forest, hey, I'm Turtle, and you're not.